Hello and welcome everyone. In today's video, we're going to do something a little different, and I'm going to do a walkthrough on the Multitasker character. It's been requested a couple times now. I feel like it's time. Let's make sure to turn off this mod before we mess it up. Let's click on Multitasker and talk about the weapons and our choices with them. We're also going to be playing on Danger 1. Everything I say in Danger 1 applies to Danger 0, and you can kind of take that up to Danger 20, but it is a little more to the game in Danger 1, I think. So, Multitasker. You get 20% increased damage. Pretty good starting bonus. You can have up to 12 weapons. That's pretty cool. You get minus 5% damage for each weapon you have. So, if you have 12 weapons, you have minus 60% damage, and you start with 20, so you're at minus 40. So, the first thing you need to understand when you're picking this character is that you're going to have to overcome this percent damage bonus, because even if you kind of ignore percent damage and increase your like melee damage or base damage, having minus 40% is just not viable long term. Another thing, in Brotato in general, if you're struggling to get wins, it is likely just because you're not doing enough damage early on to get the materials you need to succeed. So with that said, let's look at like weapon choices. You have a lot to pick from here. Most of it's not very good. I'll be honest with you. Most of it's pretty bad. My choices for Multitasker, if you're trying for your first win, just pick Stick. It's the easiest because it kind of negates the negative damage for every weapon by having self synergy. Also, Primitive is one of the best set bonuses with extra max HP to start. Other things I would consider if you don't want to run Stick: laser gun, slingshot, shuriken. Shotgun's also viable, quite good. Laser gun works, you just have to go with attack speed. For the purposes of this video though, we're just gonna go Stick because it is the thing to do. Let me make sure all these are turned off. Click on Danger 1, it just gives a couple new enemies. If you're playing on Danger 0 trying to get your first win, it's more or less the same. So it's really important in these first couple waves that you are aggressively killing enemies and picking up their materials. If you can get the tree in the wave 1, great. If you can't, that's okay. You kind of want to end up over like 50 materials in the first wave. So going over the level up screen, there's things to remember. So 1, we're using a melee weapon, so melee damage is good. 2, harvesting is very strong early. My rule, which is a loose rule, mind you, but on waves 1 and 2 especially, in the first 5 waves, if harvesting has a possible level up upgrade that's of the same tier as the rest, like there's this black is common upgrades, and then blue is the more rare, and then purple's the epic or like tier 3, and then red's the legendary tier 4 upgrades. If like all of these are black like they are now, I'm going to take harvesting on these early waves before I'm going to take anything else. Also, by taking harvesting on the first wave, the way it works, it increases by 5% at the end of each wave, but it will always increase by at least 1 as long as you have a single harvesting. So getting harvesting on the first level up is very good. All right, and now we're going to explain the first 2 shops, and this is very important, specifically for like Danger 5. I think you can get away with other things earlier on, but if you do this on Danger 1 or 2 or 0, 1, whatnot, you're gonna really run away with the game. So the way the weapon system works in the shop is you are more likely to find weapons that you have and weapons of your tag. So I'm most likely to find sticks when I roll. I'm slightly less likely to find primitive weapons as I roll. And then the rest are like normal rarity. It's not a huge difference. I don't have the math in front of me, but it is noticeable, and the more you play, the more you'll realize that this is how you buy weapons. Another thing is that by keeping to 1 weapon, which is what you want to do with most characters and most builds on most difficulties, it makes it easier to upgrade. So in the first 2 shops, every time you roll, you're guaranteed to see 2 weapons. So for shop wave 2 and shop wave 3. What that means is you're always going to buy, what you want to do is you want to buy pairs to your weapon, right? So we'll buy that. You want to look for anything that you want in the future. We want Gentle Alien. What you'll find the more you play is that plus 5% enemies is actually a good thing normally. So this is just an all upside weapon. It also helps the negative damage that we're getting for each weapon we buy. So we're going to lock that. We're not going to use elemental, so we're skip scared sausage, and we don't want to split our weapons. We just want to use sticks for every slot. So then we're going to roll. We got lucky, got a stick. That's fine. But we see we got two weapons again. So we're going to roll. Well, we got lucky again. Most of the time, I wouldn't expect to find like 4. You'd probably get 3, but it happens. And you can argue whether or not you should roll here, because I know if I roll, I'm not going to be able to buy a stick, but I could at least lock it for next wave. I think for 4, it's worth trying. And like if we didn't make it there, it only costs us 4. So we lock our stick for next wave. And then we're going to do the same thing in the next shop. We'll see if there's another non-weapon item we want, lock it, but besides that, we're going to get as many weapons as we can. Now, again, the whole purpose of this is that we kill enemies as fast as possible in these early waves so that we're getting as many materials as possible. There's a limit to how many enemies can be on the screen at a time. I don't think you're really hitting it early on, but it does make them seemingly respawn faster if you kill them quicker. So on the early waves, you're heavily benefited from, you know, clearing everything and picking up all the materials. Coupon, anytime it's before like wave 10, it's an auto pickup. It adds up. So now here's what we were saying before. You'll learn the more you play to reroll when needed, but in the first few shops, you're less likely to get higher tier upgrades, especially with no luck. So really our only options are attack speed and melee damage, and 5% damage I guess is fine too. I like to take attack speed here. Melee damage and percent damage are typically easier to come by. I found that attack speed, especially with like sticks, leads to better output, but there is like a cap on how much attack speed you want. Like it depends on the cooldown of your weapon. So like we have a 1.18 second delay between attacks. You really want to get that below a second. So now the second shop, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the stick. We're going to reroll. Like I said, sometimes it doesn't roll right. Like we got 2 jousting lances. We don't have any medieval, but whatever. Little muscly dude, pretty good. It gives us 3 melee damage. Our weapon scales 100% with melee damage. So that's plus 3 damage all around on each weapon. So it adds up. And then max HP is a fine stat. Don't tank a negative range completely, but it's only half as effective for melee, so you can take a little bit negative. So we reroll again. I stick. We're gonna reroll one more time because this is the end of our double weapons, and so we get another stick. Okay, so we go into wave 3 with 7 weapons. Pretty good. Pretty good spot to be in. So now we're really just focused on getting as much materials as we can. We're ahead of the curve. Not too much to worry about here. You do want to do your best at learning how to like dodge the enemies and stuff, but that just comes with time. There's not much to it. The hitbox is fairly precise on your character, and if you can, you try and kill the little loot goblins who run around with the chests on their back. They drop the chests. It's kind of good that this came up. Not something... It's kind of rare, but so with an item like this that we're only getting $13 really for, this is gonna kill enough enemies by itself to pay for it by just taking, and then it's just doing damage. I don't even like Incendiary Turret as an item at all, but it's still good for us. Now here you can kind of take what you want. Lifesteal's fine, but I don't really like taking common lifesteal. I don't think we need to reroll either. We don't have any luck. Our odds of getting a higher tier upgrade. Just take the range. to negate the debuff we're about to take in the next shop. Interesting point here. By the time you hit wave 10, it's really good to have anywhere between like plus 5 to 10% speed. I'm still going to take melee damage because it's better for right now. But it is important that you don't neglect speed or lower it, because that's a good way to lose in the leader waves. So here, this is like, the stick is the best item for us, obviously. This is the next best item, but if we take Gentle Alien, we'll get more materials for the next wave, so it's better off. There's no point in rolling because we're not going to buy anything we roll into. You could take Bag here. In fact, I think we're going to. We just have to keep in mind that we're negative 1% speed now, which is not great, but this is going to end up giving us a lot of materials by the end. I will try and remember to hover over it at the end of the run and like let you guys see. No promises though, my memory's not that amazing. So yeah, and as you can see now that we've like focused on getting so many sticks so early, we just kind of mow through the enemies. We're not worried about anything. Just trying to pick up as many materials as possible. And you'll see that that kind of maintains true throughout the run. So here, you could start going into crit if you wanted to. I'm just going to continue the attack speed route. Again, before wave 10, pretty easy, just take coupon. Then take another stick. You're going to take sticks every time. And now we can take little muscly dude. And again, there's no reason to roll because you can't buy anything. It's just a waste of 6 materials. I guess you can make the argument that you get to pay 6 materials to look at 4 more items you could potentially want, but the rarity of the items increases as your waves go up too. So you are more likely to find blue and purple items as the wave increases. Like I think around this wave, like wave 5 or so to 10, you're much more likely to see blues than you were in the previous 5. Mind you, that stat is just anecdotal from 250 hours in the game. But I think that's a decent amount of time to tell. Alright, so then we have an item like Chameleon, another good one. So, standing still is a trap in this game. 20%, this works on some characters. We're never planning on standing still. Especially not for dodge. If it was for damage, maybe. So we're trading 3% dodge for 4% damage and 24 materials. That seems like a bad deal to me. So let's just recycle it. And then we have a blue upgrade. It's just better. So we take 10% attack speed. And then there's a blue damage. We could spend money to reroll, but why bother? Just take the good stuff. Nothing really here for us. Defective steroids are pretty good. Typically anything that's about even with max HP tacked on tends to be good. We already have plus attack speed, so a little bit less doesn't hurt. Then you have something like Alien Eyes. I'm not going to take it for this run, but it's... in my experience, Alien Eyes overperforms. The text doesn't make it seem that great, but it's quite good. Don't take Little Frog, unless you have a real reason to. If you're abandoning dodge completely for your run, which is totally acceptable, like you can pick certain stats. Typically it's dodge, engineering, the other 2 damage types you're not using, lifesteal or regeneration. You can dump one of those, and like by dump I mean that can be like one of your trade-off stats. But I like dodge. I think dodge is good. And then we just get a purple stick here because the game loves us. I can't help you just randomly get purple sticks, but I can help you like increase your chances of that. So we take another defective steroids. It's good. We just keep going. And we get another stick. It's pretty good. Spear. Spear is great. If you don't know, just try spear. It's really good. Acid is one of those items that if you're gonna dump dodge, this is one of the ways to do it. We're not. So I'm just gonna continue the run. We have 20. We don't need to spend 11 to take another look. We're quite far ahead. So it's been a while since I played not Danger 5. On the next wave, there's special enemies. I don't know if there's special enemies on Danger 1. If you're playing on Danger 0 or just Danger 1 right now, just you would continue, and this you would do this in any run, no matter how good it's going. Like I know this one looks like it's going pretty strong, but normally I'd have about the same thing, except maybe not purple stick, honestly. You just do the same thing, make sure you pick up as much materials, try to kill the loot goblin, although he escaped me, mostly because I'm slow. We're not doing explosive damage, so you just skip it. And then here's a fairly decent choice. I'm gonna take the melee damage this time. That one's totally on feeling. I think attack speed might have been the correct choice, but I suspect that we're gonna end up with some plus attack speed shop items. I'm just thinking. And then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take Terrified Onion and get 4% speed. We're not messing with luck anyway, so let's get our speed out of the gutter. And we're not gonna take head injury. I don't want the minus range, even though this damage is good. This shop is kind of a wash. Bat's okay sometimes. I just don't like lowering harvesting early if I can. Lumberjack shirt is you almost always take it. It's better than it sounds. You don't want to be spending all your attacks trying to hit a tree, and minus armor is a trap. You don't want minus armor. If you end up with a lot of minus armor, you're going to end up getting yourself killed in the mid waves, because it's really easy to dodge things in the first few waves, but it becomes really difficult later. Butterfly, conversely to Bat, gives us -1 elemental damage, which we're never going to use. So 2% lifesteal is not bad when you have 12 weapons. So every attack, or every weapon hit has a 2% chance to give us some HP. That's not much, but you know, there's a good chance you end up with quite a bit more lifesteal, and lifesteal on the whole is better than HP regen, depending on your character and build. For Multitasker specifically, since you have 12 weapons and you want to be attacking relatively quick in any like DPS focused build, lifesteal becomes pretty strong. Like, I would ideally want to have at least 10% lifesteal by the end of the wave 20, you know? That way we're kind of just like, have a decent set of regeneration. It doesn't have to be a ton. The requirements are much higher the higher difficulty you're playing on. So here's where I'd like cut it off. So I'm not going to take harvesting here. There's too many good options. I'm going to take the damage because we're still negative. And if you look at our actual damage here, like we're doing 97. That's getting reduced by a lot by our percent damage. I'm not going to do the math. You can if you want to. I don't think it's necessary. Just know that every percent damage is going to increase this by a lot. I am going to forsake power generator for this run. This is a game-changing item. If you see this, you should take it. Actually, okay, look. I value it very highly, and I think you should take it basically every time. That being the case, if I'm going to show the tutorial, I might as well do what I would do. Okay, so here's the thing with power generator. It turns your speed stat into percent damage up. We only have 3 speed right now, and we're losing 5% damage. So we're getting -2% damage for 105. Not great. The only time you don't buy this is if your speed is really low. There's some characters that care about that. Not this guy. We want some speed. And if you take it, you're going to like die in the next wave. We're not. So let's grab it. There's a stick here, so we're just gonna combine to grab the stick. We're gonna roll. Now, speed has become like pretty close to our top most wanted stat now by giving us double value. High speed is one of the best defensive stats for, you know, just avoiding projectiles and rushing characters and whatnot. Oh, one note that I had when I started playing. Even if you don't pick up the crate, even if you have the bag item that gives you materials for having a crate, it will pick itself up at the end of the wave, so there's no need to walk over it. It also heals you, like food, so if you wait to leave it till you're damaged, it can heal you, and that can be useful in some situations where, you know, you might be struggling in some later waves. You know, right now, we're not struggling at all, but it can be helpful. So, definitely take Scar here. 20% XP gain is going to give us an extra level or so, and the levels it gives you are very valuable because they're higher tiered, so they're more likely to give you epic and legendary tier upgrades, and 8 range isn't a big cost for that. And this is nice. So whenever you roll 4 of the same tier level up, like we have 4 purples here, if I reroll, we're gonna see 4 more purple options, which I'm going to do for the sake of example, but also because I want to take attack speed or movement speed or melee damage here. Like, see, everything here is purple. So that applies to blue and red ones as well, if you see them. So we just take speed. Now, all of a sudden, our power generator is plus 7% damage, which is pretty good. This shop's interesting. It's sad tomatoes here, which is some HP regeneration. I don't think we're gonna mess with that too much, so we can let this be. Sometimes this is fine, sometimes it's bad. It's depends on the character. We're gonna take black belt. We're already negative luck, so why not go further? Melee damage and XP gain. I just talked about how that was good, and we're also dumping it for alien magic, which does have HP regen, so having a little bit of HP regen isn't bad. And then max HP is typically just a fine stat to have. We do want some of these, like our armor is way too low. What I would normally tell people going on danger 5 into wave 10 is that you want at least 5 armor, like minimum, bare minimum. This being danger 1, not 0, excuse me. I'm sure we could get by with none, but I would highly recommend, for the audience this video is intended for, if you are struggling, make sure you get your armor to like 3 to 5 at least. But don't do it at the cost of damage. That's the important thing here. If you'll notice, I'm basically just running through the enemies. My goal here is to get over 500 materials for the wave. That's like a sign that we're doing fine. If we get a little bit with harvesting, that's okay too. I guess there's less enemies on this than danger 5, so maybe I mass a little off. Same rules here with this turret as the incendiary turret. I think it pays off. There's the armor. You would absolutely take this armor over attack speed and HP regen. You see, 3 armor gives us 17% less damage. It really adds up. And then here, I think it's going to be my first reroll. We don't care too much about harvesting right now. Although 8 harvesting is going to be like 80. Yeah, it's not enough. Let's just roll. Maybe we get lucky. We take range here. It's fine. I wouldn't. Oh, there's also speed. I'm going to take the range. Just so we can sacrifice some later. And then take crit chance. Crit chance is a really strong stat. Crit is literally just, well, it says it on the weapon, it's 2x damage. Some weapons are better. And it has a little base crit chance, so we have 10% chance to do 2x. I think we're just gonna reroll. This shop is bad. And we're gonna do this with sticks. I like to combine and like go slowly up, like blue to purples, to make the sticks better across the board rather than going straight to legendary. Now, some characters benefit from that differently, some weapons, but in Stick's case, we're gonna split it out. We're gonna split it up. Metal turret's pretty good source of regeneration. I'm just not gonna take it for this time because I don't want to mess with it. Another stick. Spicy sauce. You guys will probably not have that because you have to unlock it. For that matter, I guess there's no point in taking it. I don't even know if you'll have power generator unlocked. I didn't think about that. Well, if you didn't, speed is, you're kind of getting the idea here. Mastery is one of the best things you can get for this. It's just straight up 6 melee damage, which with percent damage is higher. Again, we take glasses. Get the longer range on the sticks is good. We don't care about buffing our luck at this point. We're just dropping it. So there's this weird thing with luck. I don't know how true it is. Side note in the shop, recycling machine ends up getting you more materials than it's worth, so or than you spend on it. So we'll take it, and we just go on to the next wave. There's this weird thing in the current version of the game, and it's been here for a couple versions, where negative luck doesn't seem to be too bad. There was a specific patch where, because one character has minus 30 luck and it was really brutal, it was changed to not be so bad. That was on the patch notes, like why it was changed. Well, it doesn't really hurt you that bad. So in my experience so far, and I'll like take that for what it is, you either want a good bit of luck, like 50, or just dump stat luck. Like, just, it's fine being negative. And you'll end up getting more purple tier items. Now, you will get, like, less, you get worse level ups, for sure, with worse luck. So, keep that in mind. But yeah, we're just gonna totally dump stat it. Take melee damage here. And then speed, because of the power generator, we take it. If we didn't have the power generator, and this was just speed, I'd probably take 9% dodge. What that's worth. Take a stick. Dangerous Bunny's insane. It doesn't look that great. It's really good. It's gonna save you so much money. And now we can take head injury because we have so much extra range. Thinking ahead. We're not buying turrets, though. Like, we didn't recycle it because it wasn't going to give us value, but we're not spending money on it. Metal detector is really good early, especially if you're using luck or engineering. Not for this build. Again, little muscly dude. HP and damage, it's good. Hedgehog is just too expensive at this point, I think, for this stuff. Riposte, you won't have that in your shop yet, I don't think. Wait, no, it's not unlockable. It's just added. It's new. If you're dodge heavy, it's good. If you're not dodge heavy, it's meh. We're gonna skip it because we have 0% dodge. Yeah, we end up with a blue stick. That's fine. And then we can just go to the next wave. It's fine. So, like, we have 12 items, or 12 weapons. Most of them at least blue, which is pretty good for Multitasker. Most of these combat waves are going to be the same from here on out. We're just going to smack everything in the face. We want to do enough damage so that we one hit all the enemies, basically. It's kind of the goal here. And then get as many materials as we can. And this is the reason we took the gentle alien earlier, for the increased amount of enemies, so that we can basically kill them for loot. That is the optimal way to play the game currently. And then we got lucky and got a loot goblin. Here I will trade 10% damage for some attack speed. It's fine. This, like I said, I don't care about luck. We might as well just keep going negative. And let's take the purple upgrade. It's fine. Ugly Tooth is pretty good. We're not taking it here because I don't need it, and we have Power Generator. Claw Tree is good. Crit chance and damage for 1 HP is a good deal. Same with Blindfold. Another Gentle Alien. We will take every one of those we can. And here we take Whetstone because knockback doesn't matter because we're trying to one-shot every enemy. And 4% lifesteal is a lot of lifesteal. And then I take Cyclops Worm and put our range back in the negative, which is why we took the upgrade earlier, so that we can spend it on these items that give good damage but trade off for range. You see now we're doing like 140 with most of our blue weapons. Pretty strong. And it's important to know that like I'm not doing anything crazy here. This is like basic Brotato strategy. I haven't gotten really exceptionally lucky. I guess the only thing is like Power Generator is not a guarantee, and it is like a build changing item, which there are a few of in the game. But even if we didn't have it, basically we'd be the same build except we'd move it a little bit slower. It just makes our potential quite a bit better, and it's much more important in the later waves being able to dodge, and like in the later difficulties being able to dodge fast. Like before, we take Cyclops Worm. It's just too good of a trade-off. It's a lot of damage. We're not doing burning, so we sell that. Take attack speed here. We take range to make up for all the range we just spent, because we're gonna take any of these that showed up. So we get Blindfold, now we're up to 20% crit chance. Get a stick. I don't know if Gardens unlock baseline now or not, or if we unlocked them with a character. If it is, it's pretty good, but not something you want unless you're playing for food as your regeneration source. So like I said, minus 30 luck, and we just rolled a legendary. I'm gonna tell you right now, I think Gnome's a trap. You'll have to test it yourself, but it's not the 20 range down that matters. It's this minus pickup range. It really makes it annoying trying to pick up materials, like to the point of not being fun. So that's why I don't buy it. And here we take Terrified Onion, easy, because it's speed, so that's damage. Padding is a trap unless you really know what you're doing, or your saver. None of these are good for our build. And it's time to start getting into purple tier sticks. Wings is one of the big reasons why Power Generator is so good, because it's just 10% speed, 10% damage, 30 range. So like that's big. And then we get Muscly Dude, and now our range is like fluctuating between being positive and negative, but because we're doing all that with like all of our trade-off things in the shop, which is, if you haven't noticed, almost entirely everything in the shop is a trade-off. Basically what we're doing is we're leveraging every item's like negative range, fixing it with like a random level up. So we're not getting like negative of stats that we care about. I haven't traded any damage. You know, I mean, I guess we traded a little bit of attack speed for the damage, but we haven't traded any defense for damage, and we haven't really traded any damage for defense, you know? We've just, you know, taken a better offensive item, like more profitable stat. So here, our armor's still at 3, which again is a little low, so we just take the armor. As we talked about before, we're gonna take Muscly Dude, of course, take the steroids. This is where it starts to get a little more interesting. Dangerous Bunny on floor 14. so far it saved us 73 materials. I don't remember which floor we bought it on. It's going to be close if it saves us money here. I'm actually going to buy it. It does let you reroll a little bit more. Now, you could take a broken mouth here and just, like, go crazy with max HP, but we're pretty content at 95. And we're just going to not buy anything here. We have 118. No reason to spend 25 materials when we have 2 dangerous bunnies, so it means 2 free rerolls. And now, one thing to consider too is, if you're like struggling on a wave, that's going to give you a pretty good indication that you're probably going to struggle on the next wave, so you shouldn't be buying things like Dangerous Bunny. Dangerous Bunny is kind of a luxury item that you take when you're either neutral or ahead, in the sense of you're not going down to 5 HP or like 1 hit away from death, and you're getting a good amount of materials each run, or each wave. You take Dangerous Bunny to further solidify your growth over the enemies. But if you're trying to catch up, it's not going to help you catch up. So you need to spend your money where it's going to help you for what you need, if that makes sense. Here I'm going to take attack speed, I think. If you look at the sticks, we're still kind of like hovering around 1 per second attack, and if you look at the damage, it's very high. So it would make more sense to either take crit or attack speed. I think attack speed makes more sense math-wise, like just dropping the cooldown by like close to a second on each one, I guess. I didn't look at the exact number, but I'm sure you guys could see since I hovered over it. We're gonna take Muscly Dude again. Again, it's just like giving us what we need. Oh, good, Leather Vest showed up. I'm very, very in favor of Leather Vest, almost always. As long as you're not dumping dodge, you should take this. 3 HP is a small price to pay for so much armor and dodge. It's a huge survivability increase. There's another stick. So combine, buy it. A butterfly. It's a late butterfly, but it puts us 10% lifesteal, which is kind of where we wanted to be. And again, this way we no need for us to reroll because we have 2 dangerous bunnies. We save the money, go into the next round, and continue on. So at this point, I'm very confident I could step into the final boss room and kill the bosses. If it was on Danger 5, I could probably kill the bosses, because there's 2 of them, not 1. But I suspect if you guys are like struggling, it's not at the boss wave, it's at this wave or the wave prior to it. And all these bullets. If you start getting overwhelmed, just back up to a corner and start trying to dodge. Like, it's okay to have a bad wave. Some of these waves are kind of brutal. So, like, because your money carries over to the next round, it's okay to, you know, not jump into, you know, a horde of enemies just to try and survive. Adrenaline's a new item. It's extremely strong. Highly recommend taking it if you're doing anything with dodge. If you get dodge up to 50%, Adrenaline's an insane source of regeneration. Metal Plate's one of the few items that I will also take that trades defense for damage. Sometimes in the situation it doesn't matter, you have to take it, but overall I think it's a good trade. 3% damage is not a lot, and 2 armor is a lot. I think it's too late for a bag. It's wave 16. I will keep taking Gentle Aliens, although there is a point where you stop. Because the Gentle Aliens are only good for you up until wave 19. After that, like on wave 20, you don't want more enemies on the boss wave. You just want the boss, typically. So, that's a thing. I don't remember if these enemies are on Danger Zero. I think they are. The little, like, ones with the warts or the boils all over them. You need to make sure you kill those as best you can because they'll buff all the other enemies. It makes them stronger and faster. And stronger since they deal more damage. Which isn't a problem for most of the enemies, but it is a problem when they start putting it on the armored big guys and some of the other enemies you'll face on higher difficulties. It can be a real problem. We got 699 materials. Fantastic. We'll take attack speed again. See, here we have 1 blue and 3 commons, and there's a good chance if we roll, we're just gonna get better. Like that, like 9% damage and 9 speed. Then we have sticks. Like I said, we want to combine the blue ones. Do that. We'll take Muscly Dude, but we're at minus 20 range right now, so we need to... I would like to get that out of the negative. Snail's very good. Even with Power Generator, I think Snail's worth it. Lower enemy speed is one of the biggest reasons you'll die in this game. For that, I would highly recommend never taking Alien Baby. Like, that's literally a rule I have. I don't buy it. It's plus 15 HP, but enemies get 8% movement speed. It is the easiest way to get yourself killed. You don't know it until there's like 80 enemies running at you. So again, on this wave, we're just running around trying to grab all the materials we can. A good rule too is when you're killing the enemies that spawn the little babies when they die, try and stick around and kill them before they run off because they fire projectiles that can turn the game into a real bullet hell. Well, there's the range. We'll just take that. Take a leather vest, like I talked about. We bought adrenaline, so dodge is technically better for us than armor to a certain extent. So we're going to get 8% dodge and lose 1 armor. Armor's at 42% damage. We take it. Armor's at 40. So that was 2% damage for an 8% chance to dodge. And every time we dodge, a 50% chance to gain 5 life. It seems like an easy trade-off. Purple stick is a purple stick. And then we have another purple stick and a regular stick. So we just lock all those. Don't really think about it. We want the gambling token again, too. It's again one of those things. You want to make a... Damage needs to be your focus, but it's important to not be a completely glass cannon, especially on a melee character. If you're ranged, you can do some things, but... It also makes the game a bit easier, being more balanced, because then you don't have to worry about being killed in 1 hit or 2 hits. It's very, very hard in the current version of the game to survive on 1 health. Essentially, or, you know, the equivalent of 1 health, regardless of whatever that means, if your health is low or you have a bunch of negative armor. This is one of the harder waves, especially in the early danger levels. There's just a lot of projectiles going on. Thankfully, we have enough HP that it doesn't matter, and then we have the lifesteal to counteract it. And then we could take... this one's a little closer. I think we're still on attack speed. For sure. And then here, I think we're buying this stick. Now we have a legendary one, and then we're combining, and then we're buying this stick. You always want to make sure you have your 12 weapons when you're doing this with sticks specifically. If you're not doing it with sticks, you can like mess around at the mid game to like change the damage bonus, but yeah, so we take the dodge again. We're up to down to 38% less damage, but it's okay. And then coffee is just a lot of attack speed. We will take another one of these. We're just gonna keep taking these. Tardigrade's a trap. Don't take it. Pretty much. Unless you're a character that has literally 1 HP and it's gonna like potentially save you. It doesn't do any good, because more likely than not, you're gonna get hit more than once. And you're also probably gonna heal from the first hit you get. So it really doesn't nullify anything. So we're getting a little swarmed here. Part of it's because we have no AoE. All our sticks are stabby type attacks. And we never picked up Rip and Tear, which I don't think is unlocked baseline. You have to unlock it, but it makes an explosion, or a chance to explosion when you kill something. We also didn't take the alien eyes earlier on, which would have helped a little bit, but we have enough HP regeneration and pretty high defenses to kind of run through this crowd. You see, I'm like, as I'm running through here, I'm also keeping an eye on my life. If we ever dip below 50, I would get out of the middle. Triangle of Power is a trap as well. You do not want -2 damage. There's some characters who can take this. Again, if you're pure glass cannon, you can't survive getting hit anyway, it's fine, but this can lead to you losing a run very quickly, so normally don't take it. That doesn't affect us. And here we got legendary set. I'm just gonna take 9% crit chance. That's huge. And then we have a stick. We have a muscly dude. Our range is still positive after all these. Take another coffee. Gives us almost at 2 a second attacks on the stick, which is pretty good. I don't want to take bait because of like the special enemies on the last wave. That's probably bad practice. Poisonous Tonic finally shows its face. This is one of the best items in the game. 2 HP regen for 15 range, 5 crit, and 10% attack speed is just absolutely absurd stats. You don't need to pivot to other weapons here. You just stick to what you have. Okay, this item is in here for a mod that I forgot to turn off. That one that I clicked off at the start, I forgot to add an item. Ignore this. It probably would have been something else, but I'm being punished for being forgetful, or lazy for just not turning it off all the way. So it's the last wave. If we roll, we're gonna have about enough to buy a black belt equivalent item, so I don't see a reason not to just buy the black belt itself. We could take Compass for the speed, but then we have minus crit chance. I'd also just roll. I don't think 3 melee damage is making or breaking anything. Yeah, that was better. But I wouldn't have faulted you for that. So then you have the boss wave. Best thing to do with this guy is run around him in the same way that he's spinning. The orbs are spinning. And just try and follow around him. If you're dealing enough damage to get rid of the enemies besides him, it won't be that difficult. If you're not, it can be kind of a struggle. But it's not too bad. And you just kind of keep that up unless somebody kill him. And that's how you win with Multitasker. If you have any questions or anything, let me know in the comments below. Before I forget, let's look and see what bag. So we spent, what did we spend, 20 on this? It got us 210. So we spent 210 we spent 1% speed and got 180 materials. That's a pretty fair trade. But yeah, so that's how it works. Pretty good run. And you could consistently do this every time once you understand how it works. So yeah, if you have any questions, comments, you need to see this with a different character, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can learn a lot from just watching my daily run through vids, even the ones that are modded. It teaches you like the fundamentals of the game. But yeah, I appreciate you all for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Later.